Tensions on the U.S.-Mexico border reached a boiling point as both nations vied for control over vast territories. With Texas annexation by the U.S., Mexico's reluctance to recognize the Rio Grande as the boundary exacerbated the situation, setting a stage for conflict. The ideology of manifest destiny fueled American expansionism, embedding a belief that the United States was destined to spread across the continent. This belief justified territorial acquisitions and was a driving force behind the push towards the Pacific, including the lands that lay between. The dispute over the rightful border between the U.S. and Mexico centered on two rivers, the Nueces and the Rio Grande. Mexico stood by the Nueces River as the boundary, while the U.S. claimed the Rio Grande, further intensifying the conflict over the coveted lands of Texas. James K. Polk, an ardent expansionist, assumed the presidency with the ambition of extending America's borders. His determination saw the fulfillment of manifest destiny as a national objective, with the annexation of Texas and the sights firmly set on Mexican territories, heralding a period of aggressive American expansion. The Thornton Affair, a skirmish involving U.S. and Mexican troops, ignited the war. This confrontation resulted from Polk's orders to patrol the disputed territories, leading to a deadly encounter that would serve as the pretext for the U.S. declaration of war against Mexico, marking the beginning of hostilities. The U.S. Declaration of War. In 1846 marked a pivotal moment in American history. President James K. Polk's bold decision, driven by the desire for territorial expansion, ignited a conflict that would reshape the continent. This move was met with mixed reactions, showcasing a nation divided over the ethics of expansionism. The Bear Flag Revolt stands as a testament to California's complex path to becoming part of the United States. American settlers, driven by dreams of independence and expansion, declared California a republic. This revolt was a key precursor to California's eventual annexation, highlighting the unstoppable momentum of American manifest destiny. Key battles between the United States and Mexico, from Palo Alto to Chapultepec, showcased the strategic and sometimes brutal nature of military engagement during the war. These confrontations were crucial in determining the territorial outcomes of the conflict, underscoring the fierce determination of both nations to control vast lands. The Siege of Veracruz was a turning point in the Mexican-American War, demonstrating the U.S. military's strategic capabilities. This pivotal battle not only showcased the power of American artillery, but also marked the beginning of a series of victories that would eventually lead to Mexico's surrender. The Navy played a critical role in the United States' victory, with blockades and the capture of California being instrumental in crippling Mexico's ability to sustain its war effort. The Navy's actions ensured the swift and effective annexation of key territories, demonstrating the importance of naval power in achieving national objectives. The Texas Rangers played a pivotal role in the Mexican-American War, serving as scouts and guerrilla fighters. Their extensive knowledge of the terrain made them invaluable in leading U.S. forces through unfamiliar landscapes. Their tactics, often unconventional, struck fear in the hearts of their opponents and played a crucial part in the U.S. military strategy. On the Mexican side, the perspective was one of defending sovereignty and territory against an aggressive neighbor. The Mexicans fought valiantly to protect their homeland, viewing the U.S. actions as a blatant disregard for international laws and the rights of sovereign nations. Their resistance, though ultimately unsuccessful, was fueled by a deep sense of national pride and the desire to maintain their country's integrity. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo marked the end of hostilities, ushering in a new era for both nations. It significantly expanded U.S. territory, but at a considerable cost to Mexico, which lost about half of its land. This treaty reshaped the geopolitical landscape of North America and had lasting impacts on the relationship between the two countries. The Gadsden Purchase further solidified the boundaries between the U.S. and Mexico. This acquisition of land facilitated the U.S.'s continental expansion and was critical for the construction of a southern transcontinental railroad. It represented the final chapter in the territorial disputes between the two nations, closing a tumultuous period in their histories. The debate over the Wilmot Proviso highlighted the growing sectional tensions within the United States regarding the expansion of slavery into newly acquired territories. Although it never became law, the proviso foreshadowed the looming conflict over slavery that would eventually lead to the American Civil War. It underscored the deep divisions within the country and the complex aftermath of the war's territorial gains. The aftermath in Mexico post-war was marked by profound loss and political upheaval. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo stripped Mexico of half its territory, plunging the nation into a period of instability and reform. This territorial cession significantly influenced Mexico's political landscape, leading to internal strife and challenges in governance. The American military experience during the Mexican-American War was pivotal in developing strategic and leadership skills that would shape future conflicts. Emerging from the war, the U.S. Army had honed its tactical abilities, and many officers who would later become key figures in the Civil War first proved their mettle during this conflict. Native American tribes found themselves disastrously caught in the crossfire of the Mexican-American War. The shifting borders and the expansion of American settlers further encroached on their lands, leading to displacement, loss of life, and the further erosion of their cultures and communities in the wake of American expansionism. The debate over manifest destiny and its fulfillment through the war with Mexico remains a contentious topic. While some viewed the territorial acquisitions as the divine right of the United States to expand across the continent, others saw it as an aggressive act of imperialism that disregarded the rights and sovereignties of other nations. The California Gold Rush, catalyzed by the war's end, significantly impacted American society and the global economy. The discovery of gold in 1848 drew hundreds of thousands to California, accelerating the state's admission to the Union and contributing to the rapid expansion and economic development of the United States. Soldiers of fortune played a pivotal role in the Mexican-American War, bringing a mix of adventure-seeking individuals and mercenaries to the forefront. These adventurers, lured by the promise of land grants and military glory, often shifted the dynamics on the battlefield. Their motivations varied, but their impact was undeniable, introducing a wild card element to military strategies and outcomes. The U.S. Marines' involvement in the Mexican-American War is famously captured in the opening lines of their hymn, "From the Halls of Montezuma." This phrase commemorates their significant role, particularly during the Battle of Chapultepec. Their bravery and strategic prowess in capturing Mexico City left an indelible mark on Marine Corps history, elevating their status as an indispensable combat force. The San Patricios, a battalion of mostly Irish soldiers who defected to Mexico, represent a fascinating chapter of the war. Their decision was driven by a complex mix of religious solidarity, mistreatment by Anglo-American commanders, and promises of Mexican citizenship. Despite facing severe consequences if captured, their allegiance to Mexico underscored the multifaceted nature of war loyalties. African-American soldiers in the war faced a paradoxical situation. While contributing significantly to the U.S. military efforts, they were fighting for a country that, for the most part, did not recognize their rights as equal citizens. Their participation highlighted the contradictions of fighting for freedom abroad while being denied it at home, casting a long shadow on their service and sacrifice. The home front during the Mexican-American War was a battleground of opinions and propaganda. Public support was manipulated through sensationalist newspaper reports and patriotic fervor, painting the war as a righteous expansion of territory. Yet, dissenting voices, like those of abolitionists and pacifists, argued against the war's morality, revealing a deeply divided nation even as it expanded its borders. The press played a pivotal role during the Mexican-American War, not just in reporting events, but in shaping public opinion. Newspapers across the United States delivered updates from the front lines, often with a blend of factual reporting and patriotic fervor. This mix influenced citizens' perceptions, rallying support for the war effort. Henry David Thoreau's act of civil disobedience, refusing to pay taxes in protest against the war, marked a significant moral stance against what he viewed as an unjust and imperialist conflict. His actions and writings, including Civil Disobedience, challenged Americans to consider the ethical implications of their government's policies, inspiring future generations of activists. The use of artillery and naval power showcased significant military innovation during the Mexican-American War. Advances in technology and strategy allowed for more effective siege tactics and blockades, demonstrating a shift towards modern warfare. This period highlighted the growing importance of technological superiority in military conflicts. Literature and art from the Mexican-American War period provide a unique window into the era's cultural and societal attitudes. Writers and artists captured the triumphs, tragedies, and everyday realities of the war, contributing to the national narrative. Their works serve as essential tools for understanding the historical context and the human experience of the conflict. The war's legacy continues to shape modern U.S.-Mexico relations, laying the groundwork for a complex and intertwined future between the two nations. The territorial changes and the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo's consequences have had long-lasting effects, influencing diplomatic, economic, and social interactions up to the present day. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo not only ended the Mexican-American War, but also catalyzed the United States' westward expansion, inflaming tensions over slavery's reach into new territories. This pivotal moment set the stage for the bitter sectional conflicts that would erupt into the Civil War. The acquisition of vast lands underscored the divisive question of whether these new territories would enter the Union as free or slave states, accelerating the nation's march toward internal strife. America's expansion westward, as facilitated by the treaty, reshaped the national landscape. The promise of manifest destiny was realized, stretching the country's borders to the Pacific and fostering a sense of boundless opportunity. However, this growth came at a significant cost, displacing countless Native American tribes and setting the scene for future conflicts over land and resources. The changing map of America reflected a nation in flux, grappling with its identity and the consequences of its ambitions. The economic and human costs of the Mexican-American War were profound. The United States triumphed, but at the expense of significant financial expenditure and loss of life. Mexico, on the other hand, faced even greater losses, surrendering half of its territory. This war laid bare the harsh realities of expansionism, challenging the notion of manifest destiny with the sobering toll it exacted on both nations. Women played crucial but often overlooked roles in the Mexican-American War. From supporting the home front to serving as nurses, they contributed to the war effort in various capacities. Their participation highlighted the changing roles of women in society and the beginnings of a shift towards greater involvement in public and military affairs. Diplomacy and negotiations following the conflict sought to mend and redefine U.S.-Mexico relations. Efforts were made to avoid further conflict, with both nations recognizing the need for a stable and peaceful border. These diplomatic endeavors laid the groundwork for future cooperation, although the war's scars would long influence perceptions and interactions between the two countries. The Mexican-American War played a pivotal role in shaping American identity and unity. As the nation expanded its territories, the concept of manifest destiny was embraced more fervently, uniting the country under a common goal. This period marked a significant transformation in how Americans viewed their place in the world, fostering a sense of national pride. Veterans of the Mexican War returned home as heroes, their legacies immortalized through memorials and tales of valor. These tributes serve not only as reminders of individual bravery, but also as symbols of the nation's growing military prowess. The commemoration of their service helped to embed the war's significance into the American collective memory. Espionage during the Mexican-American War highlighted the importance of intelligence and military strategy, a facet of warfare that would evolve significantly in the years to come. The use of spies to gather crucial information about enemy movements and plans underscored the complexity of the conflict, revealing a side of war often overshadowed by battle narratives. The environmental impact of the Mexican-American War is an often overlooked aspect. The movement of troops and the establishment of new settlements disrupted local ecosystems, altering landscapes. This environmental footprint is a testament to the war's lasting effects, extending beyond political and social changes to influence the very land itself. Reflecting on the Mexican-American War offers valuable lessons for today, emphasizing the consequences of military conflict on national identity, environmental sustainability, and international relations. It serves as a reminder of the complexities of expansion, the sacrifices of those who serve, and the importance of understanding the past to navigate the future.